These are the 6 leadership lessons I've learned that will help you avoid failure. Number 1, kind candor. Your job as a leader is to tell someone how to improve because they want to improve. And when you critique them, either give them a compliment first or make sure you're critiquing them kindly. But if you don't explain where they need to improve, they're never going to know. For example, I was sitting down with an agent yesterday and they were running one of our military, our lead generation funnels. And I wasn't really happy with how it was going or the turnout or the events. And so I sat down with her and I was candidly critiquing all of the things that I wanted to change in this system or in this strategy. And because she's an A player, she was willing to listen, she took notes, and she was willing to implement those changes. Now, the whole time, I was critiquing her, telling her what she was doing wrong, but I was doing it in a kind way from the approach of let's solve this together, not me against you. Number 2, round pegs, square holes don't go together. Here's what I mean. The best performers in your company will figure out a way to succeed, and the underperformers, everybody else, will figure out a reason why they cannot. And here's an amazing example of this. When I onboard a new real estate agent to the company, I give them a checklist of 150 things they have to accomplish over the next 4 weeks, and I show them, you got a lot of work to do. And then every week I'll check in with them. And what I've noticed is some people, a lot of them, start going through the checklist and then they'll get a little confused, they'll get hung up on something, they can't figure it out, and then they'll stop. They'll stop right there and not keep going. And then 3, 4, 5 days will go by before I meet them again, and I'll sit down with them and be like, hey Cliff, I see you stopped at task number 4. What happened? He's like, oh, I got stuck. I was gonna wait to ask you about how to do it because I need help with this thing. I was like, dude, it's been 4 or 5 days. What have you been doing this whole time? He's like, oh, I don't know. I just wanted to wait and ask you. Whereas the best performers, here's what they do when that happens, because it does happen to everybody. They go through, they get stuck on something. They go to Google, they look it up, and then they can't find it. And then they'll ask another agent in the company. They'll be like, hey, I can't figure this out. And then finally, they'll call me the day they get stuck on it, and they'll be like, hey, Dev, I'm really sorry. I tried to Google it. I called the agents. I couldn't quite figure this out. Here is my 1 or 2 specific questions. Can you help me with this so I can continue on? And then we jump in, we fix it, and we continue forward so that whole week they're able to get stuff done. But the point here is not accomplishing or not accomplishing. It's that the best performers, they figure it out, and everybody else will find an excuse. And you want the best people working for you that are able to figure out those problems, because there will be problems. That is business. Number 3, right people, right seats. Here's what I mean. When you're hiring someone for a position, the first thing I look for is attitude. Are they the right person for this job? Are they coachable? Are they willing to learn? When I sit in on a call session with you to help you make your calls and really work through it and improve, do you say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want you to do it around? Or do you say, hey, thanks for doing that. It makes me a little uncomfortable because I'm new at this, but I really appreciate you being willing to help. When you're hiring people, you need people that are willing to be coached. They're willing to change their ways. And so when one person has feedback and they give it to you and you start arguing, what you're actually doing is you're saying, hey, I'm not willing to learn anymore. And that is not the type of personality you want in your company. So you want to look for the right person, but then you also need to make sure you give them the right seat, the right job. For example, one of my business partner, Michael, is amazing, and he is an operations manager at heart. He'll spend days thinking about decisions. He'll come back to it. He'll sleep on ideas. I would never sleep on something. He'll read something through 6 or 7 times before sending it out as an email. He'll spend time to learn the system before he crafts or changes it. But he's not the type of person that's going to ever push sales. He's definitely not a high movement environment guy. And he would never want to close somebody. He would never want to ask for the business. That's not his personality style. So as an operations manager, he's fantastic. He would be quite a lousy real estate agent because that's not his skill set. And another example is we have an agent in our company. His name is Ben. He is warm, he's charming, he's fun to be around, he's charismatic, he's the life of the party. And when he meets people, he has no problem going up to them and just chit-chatting right away. He'll share his viewpoints regardless, and he has no problem asking for the sale and saying, hey, I want to do this. Let's make this thing work, and getting excited with the customer. But he moves quick. He's got a lot of energy. He's doing the thing. He's not the guy that we need writing the SOPs and implementing a training software. That is not the right seat for him. He is just an amazing sales partner at heart. And so when you hire your team members, don't just say, are they a good fit for this organization? Do they fit our core values? But also, is this a job that allows them to thrive? Because if you take an A player and you put them in a job they don't love, they're not going to do well. Number 4, right compensation. I think this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs really blow it on, is they don't give their team the ability to grow. And so I hired this general manager for our rock climbing gym, Anthony, and he is just die hard the perfect person for the job. When he came on board, the company was not up and running. He came out very early. We were making no money. We had very little of it. And so we told him, this is the job offer. We really can't pay you a whole lot yet. We hope we can in the future. But again, there's no guarantee that this company is successful. But if we are, we want to share that with you. And so he left his very successful, very cushy job to come be the general manager of a climbing gym where he's working 12 to 14-hour days, 6 to 7 days a week for 3 years straight. And so when he came on, it was an immediate difference and he started performing well. And then when the company started making money, we gave him a raise. And when we made more money, we gave him another raise. But because the things he did directly improved the organization, we were able to pay him more, and then way more. And here's the thing is, when I go into a company or when I meet other staff in general, a lot of agents, staff, whoever, they'll come in and be like, well, I haven't sold anything before. I want the best splits. I want the best pay. I want all of this. And I say, well, you got to earn it. When the company makes money, they will, if you have a good leader, they will share that with the people that develop and earn it. But if you just come in and start asking out right out the gate and you don't benefit the company in any way, it's not a win-win. But as leaders, we need to give our team members the ability or the room to allow them to grow and earn more. But it also goes the other way. When somebody comes in and if they're losing the company money, or if they're not making good decisions or helping in any way, it's also your job as a leader to either realign those incentives or let them go. Number 5, and this is a hard one, you hopefully will outgrow some of your team members in your organization. You ideally are growing every single day, improving. The person that runs a 5-person organization is very different than the one that runs a 30 versus a 300. Your skill set and the people around you need to grow and get way better at their jobs and their duties. And there's also always going to be in some companies people that stop growing with you. They say, I'm done with this. And just like the oak tree needs to grow past the flowers and the bushes to become a mighty oak, you must do too, which means you will leave some people behind if you continue to grow. Now, ideally, you're gonna have some players in your organization who are willing to spend the time to improve their skills. They're willing to learn. They're willing to read. They're willing to ask questions. They're willing to be challenged. They'll go out on the weekends and take classes and courses. Our high climb general manager went to the mainland to learn all about operations of a facility, and he did it on his own dime. I didn't even know he did it. So you will find people that want to grow with you, but you will also find people who want to stay exactly where they are. And your job as a leader is to let them go. And it's really hard because sometimes you love them. Sometimes they're really close to your friends and family or everybody you know, but you can't let that one person hold every other person in the company back, because they will. We had this transaction manager in our company who was on staff. She was really phenomenal to work with. And she came to me and said, hey, I found a better paying job. I want to grow my career. I'm stepping down from this role. And I tried to keep her, and I was really disappointed to let her go or see her leave. But I was like, hey, I get it. I gave her a parting gift. I said, thank you. We moved on. It was okay. We filled the role with the person that was her assistant and gave that girl a great opportunity, and she started really rising up to it. A week later, that employee that quit comes back and says, hey, I actually lost that job. Can I have my old job back? And I go, I'm really sorry. We gave that position away. We're past this now. On the phone, she starts name calling me about it and saying how I don't have any loyalty to her and all these things. And then I end up realizing that she wasn't actually as good as I thought she was. And she sent a lot of really hateful messages to me and to the staff about me saying I didn't give her this chance. But the thing is, you can't hire somebody that's trying to exit your organization. That's not good for morale. You can't punish the next person who is willing to step up to the plate and take over that role. And so with your company, you're gonna have people like this, and it sucks, but it's also the name of the game. Finally, number 6, my favorite, learning. I believe there are 2 ways, and only 2 ways, that you can learn something. Firsthand or secondhand. Firsthand is you go out into the woods and you touch poison ivy and you get a bunch of hives, and now you know that poison ivy will give you a rash. Secondhand is you go out into the woods with your friend and he says, hey, that's poison ivy. If you touch it, it will give you a rash. You now have the knowledge. You now have learned the thing. Firsthand, you had to experience the lesson yourself. Secondhand, someone or something was willing to tell you about it. And most things in the world, actually all human knowledge, is known by somebody else. And so it's your job as a leader to go find the thing that you need to learn from the person rather than finding out by yourself, because that is the slowest way. And I have an amazing example of this. I had a real estate agent who refused to have her buyers, her clients, sign a representation agreement with them when they start looking at homes. And so I always told her, I was like, hey, you should really sign these. It makes them know you're the client. It makes sure that you get paid. It sets those expectations, all of it. And she goes, no, my clients would never cancel on me. I just believe in building a great relationship. And I was like, you can do both of those and still sign. And they're like, no, I would never force them to sign. It's like, okay, a few deals go on, everything is fine. And then guess what? She spends 4 months helping them look at homes, making offers, and right before their offer gets accepted, the buyers end up just going to make the offer directly with the listing agent to save a little bit of money. And that agent got burned by 4 months and probably $10,000 to $15,000 because they weren't willing to learn the lesson secondhand. She had to learn it herself. And I can tell you, if you're the type of person that's willing to learn and implement things secondhand, you will learn faster and be more successful, because what it really does is it speeds up how long it takes you to learn a lesson. If you like this video, please subscribe. Costs you nothing, means everything to me. And if you really want to see a specific topic about real estate or leadership or running this team, leave a comment. Let me know what you want to hear and I'll film it. We film on Fridays. Aloha.